for 25 years of service. And people, nobody even knew that. I didn't want to say anything, I didn't want to come to the meeting. I had 350 to 400 comments and reactions, just me. That's probably how many votes you guys got each. I don't know what the votes are, but I would bet it probably was more than that. That's just on one thing, but why can't we get an answer? Why can't there be some clarity or some reasoning, or why haven't we been told why? I don't know, I've never spoken at a meeting like this, but this time I had to. I had a couple places I could have been tonight, I'm not gonna get into that, which, I didn't wanna have to come here and it's unbelievable that we can't get an answer. And are we gonna get an answer of why he was terminated? That's what I wanna know. Whose decision was it? Why wasn't anybody talked to? If we voted you in, why wasn't the public aware of any of this stuff? I mean, and the reasons that he was terminated, if whatever the reasons are, because I don't know, were those reasons that he was terminated bad enough to let a guy is dead? Where are you gonna find a guy like that? You're not. You're not gonna find another guy like that. So you know why? Because there isn't one. So, you guys need to relook at what's going on in this town, guys,
Your 5 minutes are up, Mr. Shane.
All right, thank you.
You bet. Nate Baker?
Alright, I'm gonna speak on two different parts, so I'll start with, addressing Dean himself. Probably been on, at least with our group, the longest with him. Grew up with Dean, probably about 15, and, so when I met him, started doing stuff. When I first got on, I will say that our department was, very arrogant, and we thought we were better than a lot of departments, and, we stepped on a lot of toes, and we started getting a reputation like that. After, we've had several members come and go, and after certain members were off, Dean made it a point to start building bridges and mending fences. We have amazing working relationships with Hills of City, Litchfield City, we're real close with them, and our relationships have been repaired very, very well with the surrounding departments. Dean has always been there. If him and I think we've maybe had 2 times in our career where we've gone head to head, but he's always been, let's go sit down and talk about it. What do you gotta say? He's always been receptive to what I've had to say. It's always been a candid conversation. I've been able to say what I needed to say, and he could say what he needed to say. We worked it out, and we figured it out, and we moved on. He's always been a mentor. He's always been there for new recruits, guys that are getting on, trying to instill in them the standards that he has, not only for himself, but our department, of working with people and being the best that we can do. I know when we get on scene, like if we get on a mutual aid, you can see the relief that, all right, Jonesville's here. They know if they need help with command, he'll step right in, give his opinions, or they will tell him, okay, your guys, go do this, and we'll go do it. They have that confidence in him. You're never gonna get that again, ever. Ricky Riggs is a close second. He's put almost as much time and dedication into this department, if not more, recently in the last 10 days, than I think anybody has in any department. And it's because of him. It's the only reason that most of us are still here is because of him. When we found out he was terminated, we went and talked, and as much as he wanted us to retaliate and voice our opinions, the community is more important. He said, I don't want the community to be unprotected. You guys have to stay. I'll deal with what I gotta deal with. I can take it on the chin. He's a strong guy. But we're there for him. And Lisa, okay? Dean is my brother. He's not a friend. He's family. He has been a long time. And he knows I'll have his back no matter what. Something happens, I'll be there, grab a hat. He's an amazing person. Plain and simple. It's an honor to have served. Hopefully again. Okay? So, that was a firefighter side. Maybe some of you guys know or don't know, I'm also on Township board. So I'm now speaking on the Township behalf. Questions we had at our last meeting on Monday. And I don't know if you guys realize this, but the Township, us and Scipio, I can't speak for Scipio, but we, you guys provide a service to us, we pay for that service. question is, what's the plan? I mean, you look around, these guys right here, I'll take these 8 guys over any other department, but we're still only 8 guys. Whether you wanna hear it or not, it's gonna affect coverage. It's putting the, public at risk. So the township's gotta ask, what's the plan? I've heard, well, we got mutual aid agreements. Well, that's honestly not fair for the other departments. If they have to come to every single one of our calls, that's not fair either. So the township's asking what's gonna happen, because we feel if we're gonna have mutual aid agreements, and we're gonna have other departments coming to our calls, because we all have 95 jobs. The question is, do we then turn around and talk to those departments about being our coverage area? Do we take our money, so I think we're right around 35-6% the fed is of Jonesville's budget, and do we start talking to other departments that are gonna be on a more regular basis? Because that's, from our aspect, it's not fair to rely on other departments if we're paying Jonesville to rely on other departments to cover our area. Just something for you guys to think about. I mean, that was just a discussion that was talked about at our last meeting, like I said, on Monday. Not sure if everybody's aware of that type of situation, but we are concerned about our citizens, our township members being covered and being safe. Not only that, we're concerned about these guys being safe, having the proper equipment, proper time. 8-10 guys running a department, even volunteer bed, they're gonna burn out. I can tell you right now, Ricky Riggs he's burning out. He needs like a week's vacation from all of this. So, I just wanted to bring that up, obviously nothing official, just talks, and something we're gonna probably have to sit down with Jeff, and we'll have to go over some budget stuff and talk a little more in depth with that. But I don't want you guys getting blindsided of year where I'll maybe shopping around to maybe possibly look at other departments cover our area. Okay? No big deal. Thanks, guys, appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Dean Adair?
Dean Adair, second, 308 West Street, taxpayer for the last 31 years, removed chief of 25 years on the department. I will clarify some of the questions. Your employment with the city of Jonesville at an at-will basis, as you know, and it was further described in a memorandum from the Director of Public Safety and Chief of Police Lance to the City Manager Gray, dated July 26, 2023. An evaluation has been completed regarding your job performance, including the handling of a personnel incident that took place on March 13, 2023. You have been afforded an opportunity to review the memorandum and the allegations regarding your actions. Now you know where it came from. I don't know if the council has every bullet point on here, but I'm going to touch on each and every one of them so that you can see what took place and what transpired. The failure to manage the personnel incident. The personnel incident started with violation of the incident command. That came from your prior director that let this individual violate the incident command, or the chain of command. It didn't come through us, it didn't come through any of the officers on the department. It went right directly to the director. From the director, it went to city offices. And both were guilty of the incident. Wasn't my problem. He got addressed that he violated the chain of command, didn't like it, got up, resigned verbally that night, and told us, don't come to my business, I don't want you, I'm not going to make anything for you, I don't want to have anything to do with you guys. Left. Okay? We made the director aware of it. And in their bullet point, it says, it was a training night. It wasn't a training night, it was a cleanup, it was our meeting night. So, after addressing it with the director, we had another meeting and sat down. The director and the officers with said individual. Obviously, the apparent that he cannot perform the duties of a firefighter and was not mentally capable of any type of rational conversation. there still was nothing done by the director. If you remember, I'll get the date, on August 19th, 2021, I was relieved of administration duties because the position of public safety director was made as a blocker because supposedly communications were bad between the department and city office. So, in turn, I'm operational. That means I take care of my guys, I make sure our equipment's running, I make sure that they're safe and they go home at night after our calls. Administration takes care of all the rest. Payroll, which I was still doing, state reporting, personnel issues, those are the things that administration takes care of. But I'm being removed because of an administration issue. If anybody is major misconduct, it would be the director. He didn't take care of the duties that he was hired for. It may be in a temporary term or fashion. Maybe somebody didn't inform him of all his duties that he was supposed to perform, but I'm getting blamed for it. I'm getting railroaded for it. That's fine. That's the thanks I get for 25 years of serving the community. If we drop down also to another bullet point that I did not complete training that council had voted in with Eder, that when we had our elections, we were supposed to have a Officer 1 completed by end of the fiscal year. Again, I remind you, August 19th, 2021, I was removed from administration. I was taken out of the ability to be able to schedule classes, even for myself or any individual in the department. It's administration's job to do that, which he was aware of because I just completed Firefighter 2, okay? And he knew I had no access to schedule that class. He did. So again, I'm being blamed on one of these bullet points in my removal that I did not complete this class. But it's amazing that now we can go, we've moved it out. I don't know if council approved that, because you approved that it had to be by the end of the financial, or by the fiscal year, that it had to be resolved and taken care of when we were removed from our positions. I want you to know also, you do have an officer that's in place that's running the department that was under that too. So there was no removal for him. One of them resigned. So one had the class. So I'm not getting the gist of it. It's confusing to me. But now we've told the people that are placed that those are effect, it's okay, we're gonna move it out 3 years. But then I looked and I see that those classes weren't even budgeted until 2023-24 year. So I'm wondering why I'm getting, if I could have at least 5 minutes for every year that I serve the community, that'd be great. I got a couple more bullet points and I'll be done. So the other thing was failing to secure doors at the fire department. The doors were left open at a training. You know what? That practice has been done for years and years. We've never had an issue anybody taking anything. We don't have the door clickers to be able to reach. Nobody's going to get out of the truck to go back and shut the door when an emergency happens. Okay? This was a training that night that the doors were left open. I can tell you this. If you ever look into the hazards of carcinogens from diesel exhaust fumes inside of a building, that was one of the reasons why we used to leave doors open so that we could vent that out. We brought it to the attention and told them that the proper exhaust system needed to be put on the vehicles, but that's an emerging trend. Cancers for firefighters are emerging trends, and that equipment never got put in place. So, to make sure that we were safeguarding the guys that were still in the department, we'd leave the doors in to go ahead and let it vent out. You go through every community in this department and in this county, there's doors left open. Hillsdale City, they leave on a call, doors are open. It's one of those things. But that's one of the bullet points that I'm getting removed for 25 years, is that I left the door open on the garage down there. During a training session, I'm being blamed for sediment in the water in the city. Okay? Now, I just need to know if there's anybody here that's certified by the state, firefighting. Okay. Well, I'm being blamed that I had an improper use of a hydrant valve. Now, somebody'd have to give me, I can give you the description of a hydrant valve. A hydrant valve is a small 2.5-inch valve that we stick on the side, the smaller part of the hydrant that we hook up when we hook in our main steamer off the front, which is an LDH, large diameter hose. That night at that training, when we were doing hydrant training, a hydrant valve was put on the hydrant, never used, and we used off the LDH, which goes right directly to the truck. We may have ran about 3,000 gallons, maybe, but nothing that was anything that was illegal or improper, nothing happened. We even have a regulating valve that hooks to the truck, that if there's a surge or a hammer, they shut the line off, it doesn't send it back, it dumps the water out the side of the truck. That was in place. And I think these guys can vouch that on that training, there was no illegal handling that would have ever caused rust or a release into the city water supply. That's the way. And a loss in tower pressure. I'm telling you what, if me hooking one truck into a hydrant and running it for maybe 3 minutes at the far end of the city does anything with the pressure in the city, we've got a really fragile system. And we need to look into it and take care of it. Because the debris that came, it would have been, let me see, about June. It would have been, yeah, it was June 6th. We had a structure fire out on 2760 East Chicago Road. It was on a Tuesday. The hydrant in front of the department was used, and it came out like brown mud. So how did the debris on July 19th, how did that, I mean, the cause, I mean, obviously we can't go back in time from when we did our training to when we used it prior in June. And you can have that verified by any of the departments that mutual aided with us that day, because they had to dump all their rigs before they went back. Also, one other bullet point and I'm done. The bulletproof is that I used, I'm going to get the correct wording here. I used to the effect of 2 recent occurrences in which fire department personnel and trucks under Chief Adair's direction were utilized for non-city purposes for the benefit of a local business and a private party resident located outside the city limits. Okay, now that's misleading. Outside the city limits, this, I could have walked across the road from city limits to out of the city limits. That's how far it was. It was a business owner in the city, Jason Bugby, and he asked, hey, if you guys are out doing training, you're going to run the trucks or something, could you maybe just spray down this patch on my garage, just to wet it down for me? Well, absolutely. Everybody has to understand is that when we do trainings, when we do stuff like that, idle trucks down there that sit and don't get run are the ones that are going to fail when the emergency happens. So we do cycle it. Now, whether I take that water and I dump it out here on US 12 or I spray it out into a field somewhere, why can't a community member, a business member, get a benefit to that? They pay taxes here. Isn't that what the fire department's about? Community service? And if I can aid to the community by we're doing a benefit to us by running our truck, why not? It's a win-win. That's where you get the support from the community. And that's what I've done for 25 years. But I guess these times weren't good enough. I mean, it was obviously, I didn't get any memo that any type of procedure changes, anything like that. Nothing at all. But it was okay when the city manager asked me to go wash down Big B Coffee and dump thousands of gallons of water. It was okay then. I guess I'm lost again. It was okay then, but it's not okay now. And that's another one that I was removed for. Nothing unethical, nothing criminal, BS. This is what this is. This whole thing right here is BS. Thank you for your time.
Lisa?
Lisa Adair, 308 West Street, Jonesville, city resident, taxpayer. What is the great eight? Heroes are believed to possess 8 traits. These traits are smart, strong, resilient, selfless, caring, charismatic, reliable, and inspiring. It's unusual for a hero to possess all 8, but most heroes have the majority of them. Chief Adair possesses them all. I am here tonight to pay tribute to a man that has given 25 years of selfless, dedicated service to the city of Jonesville and its residents. Even though he won't admit it, he is a true hero. He has seen things none of you can imagine, not even in your worst nightmares. On a personal side, this job has taken him away from family, holidays, celebrations, and even leaving vacation early to come home when disaster struck our city. He has been told by at least one of you that's what you signed up for. And yes, that is true. And he took it seriously, which you should all be thankful for. I know I am. All of this while working a full-time job, being a great husband and father. On the professional side, again, 25 years of untarnished service to the city of Jonesville. He has gotten grants, lowered the ISO rating to the lowest it has ever been, saving the taxpayers money. Educates the students at Jonesville schools on fire safety and prevention, pre-prom talks at the high school, 2 yearly scholarships awarded to graduating seniors to further their education. Made sure his guys were and are well trained and made it home safe to their families after every call. He has saved lives and properties. He has never left the fire department uncovered. This list could go on and on. I personally feel that the decision to remove him as fire chief and from the department totally is a grave mistake. This man is easily at 90% of all calls. Yes, we have mutual aid, but we all know that the majority of county departments are short-staffed and not always going to be able to come to Jonesville due to obligations to their communities first. This is putting our community and our loved ones in a dangerous situation. If you were born and raised here, you get it. If you're an outsider, you'll never understand it. Chief Adair did nothing illegal, immoral, or out of line. This was unjust. Chief Adair, on behalf of me, your family, friends, and supporters, job well done. We love you and we support you. The city has lost one hell of a firefighter and a leader. To all of you involved in this decision to terminate me, all I have to say is good luck. I think the city council members need to dig deep, ask questions, get answers, educate yourselves on all decisions you are making. Look at past meeting minutes. Don't let one person make decisions for you. Do what you've been voted in to do. If this was a just termination, it could be accepted, but in my opinion, it is not, and not just because Chief Adair is my husband. Remember, I am a long-standing community member and taxpayer. Remember your chain of command. I will. And don't just stand behind you are employed at the city of Jonesville on an at-will basis. And to all of you guys, you're all like family, and you always will be. Godspeed to each and every one of you.
Thank you, Lisa. Steve Laney, County Commissioner.
Steve Ladies, District 2, County Commissioner. We got a report for you about what's been going on in the Commissioner's office right now. Our Commissioner meeting, if you haven't been online to watch or attend the meetings at any time, we accepted the 2022 budget, was gone over, completed with flying colors. So we passed that. We've been paying the county bills, including $1.3 million on the courthouse work, and the work continues on with that. We are looking over a change order for some more work on that coming Tuesday, and if you want to come to the Commissioners meeting on Tuesday, it starts at 9 a.m. at the 332933 from Palm Street. So it might be important for you to be there if you want to see what's going on at the Commissioners meeting. We have entered a tentative agreement with Jackson County for a new medical examiner. His name is Dr. John, I'm going to call it Maino, M-A-I-N-O. the 2nd. That wording for that agreement is currently being looked at again, and the finalization will probably come Tuesday at the commissioners' meeting at 9 a.m. We have an engineering firm doing a floor plan analysis to see the feasibility of moving the district court into the building that the DHHS is currently in. That's on Carrot Drive. The DHHS is contemplating moving to the Likeways building, and Likeways is contemplating moving to Brooklyn to a new facility. So there's a little bit of controversy going on there as to how this is all going to transpire and how we're going to end up moving the court, the district court, even if it's feasible to move out to that building on Carrot Drive. The Planning Commission has a new appointee in the name of Denise Belson, and she is for the Agricultural Department on the Planning Commission. And we also have an application from Kathleen Jakes to come aboard to the Planning Commission also. So we'll be looking at that Tuesday at 9 a.m. at the Commissioners' meeting. So I invite you all. And if you have any questions that I can't answer, it's online. And we've got a new website for the county, so you can take a look at that, and you can go back through and you can see all the Commissioners' meetings. So, if anybody's got any questions? No one? Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Appreciate it. Dana, do you want to talk or?
Not at this time, thank you.
Okay. Moving on to reports and recommendations. Consider the conduct for the industrial pre-treatment program development. Motion to get it on the floor.
So moved for the guys.
Support for that? Support that. Andy? Okay. Any discussion want to give?
Yeah, just very briefly, you know, we've had some issues with metal accumulation in the solids of the wastewater treatment plant. We have identified one manufacturer that we know that that's coming from. We're in the process of surveying additional to determine if there are others. Because of the operation of that manufacturer, the operation requires state oversight and state review, what's called an industrial pre-treatment program that meets the requirements of the state of Michigan. It's essentially a requirement on the manufacturer to treat their effluent before it comes to our system to remove some of these contaminants that create an issue when we're trying to land and get rid of the biosolids in the air. Because it is there's a state mandated process to this, it requires some engineering support to develop that program so that it will meet state requirements. So the proposal you have is from Lisa Vandenbrink, who's done previous engineering work for us to develop that industrial pretreatment program. Their contract would be an amount of $26,600 to develop that. There will be additional sampling costs. You saw those quoted in there as well. We have this will require some additional periodic sampling for different materials. And there's an estimate in there of $16,282. Traditionally, what happens when you develop an industrial pretreatment program, when you have users that are required to be regulated, you would ultimately develop a fee schedule, and you will attempt to recover your fees through the inspection and fee process down the road. Until we have completed all of the industrial surveys to confirm, you know, that whether we have more than one user, we obviously can't divide those by users at this time. So that piece of that will come under that. Ed, I don't know if I summarized it well. Anything that you would add?
No, not right now, other than I've got 3 of the sanitary surveys back, waiting on about 4 more. And then, hopefully we can start sampling in October.
Questions, Council?
Where did those sanitary surveys go?
To all the factories in the industrial park.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Moving on, contract. 6B, contract award to crack seal. Want to get it on the floor? Approval.
I will second for the guys.
Any questions? Strickland?
used these people the last 3 years. 4 years ago, I had a problem with asphalt restorations. The plow trucks would kick it up, take it right off the road. We haven't had any problem with that.
Good. Just approximately how many miles of street is it? You know? Okay.
Miles.
I see the map, though, it's quite a bit.
Yep. All the other streets that are not marked were done last year
Okay.
by the same company.
The contractors visited the streets, looked at the cracks, and did an estimate based on pounds of material that they would need to fill the cracks on those streets.
Any other questions, council? Hearing none, all in favor of awarding the contract, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Got the contract. 6C, fiscal year 2023 year-end budget amendments. Motion to get that on the floor.
So moved, Brenda Guys.
Okay, Brenda. Support? Andy? Any questions about the year-end budget amendments? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Your budget's taken care of. 6D, contract for service, domestic harmony. Motion to get that on the floor. Chris.
Brenda second.
Second. Any questions?
Many thanks to domestic harmony.
Well, I thought you gave a really good presentation.
I personally have worked donated hours at Domestic Harmony, and it's unbelievable what they provide.
All in favor of the contract for services, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Contract being taken care of. Moving on. Council minutes of July 19, 2023. Motion to get that on the floor.
George?
George? Support?
I'll second that, Brenda Guys.
Okay. Any questions about the minutes? Hearing none. Motion for approval, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay? Minutes have been approved. Accounts payable for August 2023, $71,910.04. Motion to get it on the floor.
Pay the bills.
Andy?
I'll second.
Tim? Home support? Any questions about the bills?
None.
Hearing none. All in favor? Pay the bills, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Bills been paid. Board and commission minutes. Get them all on the floor at the same time. Motion.
I'll make a motion, Brenda Guys.
Okay,
to
economic
accept
development,
them all.
read 2 planning commission. Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Any questions about the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Minutes have been accepted. Department reports.
We'll begin with Director Lance, Public Safety.
For the council, both summers for fire and police have very packet. On the police side especially, July for us was a very quiet month. Probably the least amount of reports, things that we responded to for July in probably about the last 6 years. So that way it's pretty quiet. Public roadway accidents were down, private property accidents, again. Walmart gave us 4 of those. Other than that, pretty basic. If you have any questions about any of those issues. However, August has started out and being busy for us. We had about 4 in custodies. We had a foot chase last night at Walmart plaza that Sergeant Hallway responded to and involving theft with meth, under influence meth female, which was a fight. He's okay. It was we've had just several custodies and things like that. So August, so we'll see how that continues. Anybody have any questions about the police side of this?
I know we're short-staffed, but with 6 citations, I know we still have semis and issues on the streets. I know we can't catch them all. I don't know if we're trying to use
We do have a new motor carrier officer. Mr. Stockman is retired, and so the state's been advised of some of our hot spots. If you've noticed, probably you've seen the commercial motor division pretty active in our town lately.
Yes.
So, yeah, so they are informed of the truck routes, especially in our Germain and, Reading Street and some of those other areas. So, yeah, they're gonna be assisting us with that. In terms of staffing, yeah, we are short, obviously, part-time, full-time help, so that will continue to be something that we're working on.
I'm glad to have you back.
Fireside, just a couple of quick things. For them, July, their call us, pretty busy. I looked through the last several years, about average per week, didn't call area. Interestingly enough, we had the rollover extrication training. We did get some correspondence from a prior judge here, explain it to the firefighters who were involved at night. Dave Dinkelman's wife was involved in a serious crash at nighttime near Walnut Plaza. Firefighters responded, used some of the new equipment in their training, extricated his wife out of the vehicle. She was seriously injured and taken to Detroit Henry Ford Hospital. He called us last Monday to thank the firefighters for their duty and for carrying out and assisting his wife. It's just another ways of correspondence. We also received correspondence from North Adams. Many of you may or may not know we donated a set of jaws that we no longer use. We currently have a battery set, another set. So we donated it to them, having that equipment. Received thanks to our fire department, to the city for that. In terms of new things that we've handled, Deputy Fire Chief Riggs recently went to some training involving battery car fires. We got a chance to use some of that training at the MIS race weekend. We had a lithium car that was involved in an accident, 4-car. He was able to use some foam and some other equipment that we have to work with that, and we knew some of the battery operated issues were coming up, so we'll have further training on that coming up. Some of it was covered in the training that we had, so good job to them on that. On top of the organizational changes, obviously personnel issues, which I can't comment in this forum. I would like to just thank the fire department and the people involved here. I'm not responsible for putting the group together, but their dedication and their show of support for Chief Adair and for the city and their willingness to continue to do their job is well noted on both council side and city side and my side. I appreciate it. Things that we're looking at in the fire department right now, we have one tanker. As you know, it's been out for almost 2 years. Tanker's been installed now by Promac. We expect to get that back in about 2 to 3 weeks. They're taking care of some hardware and some other issues. We have a siren and siren controller out on our current grass rig 572. Those parts are in shipping. They should be in to us this week, hopefully replaced by the end of the week. And in terms of other things that we're working on internally, obviously, just organizational changes are hard. One of the things that was expressed to me when I started was some of the insurance coverage that firefighters lacked here in Jonesville. That was taken back to city management, and just they all have been made aware, and we'll be filling out new sheets. Their insurance now has been pushed to $50,000, which is the same as all full-time employees here. So they're going to be covered by the city as we go forward. They'll be getting forms from beneficiaries and some other information. So there's a lot of other things that are in the works right now. I'm not going to prolong my statements just at this time. So if you have any further questions, go ahead and answer those.
Questions for Director Lance?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Joe.
I issued on the firefighters thing, they're a group of people that work in Marshall, call them a thing called Turtle. They put it over a car, an electric car. Since they're gonna have a battery plant there, they gotta put $500,000 into the fire department for fighting in case that plant ever come on fire. But it's kind of neat if you ever seen it. Rick probably had seen that. It's pretty amazing.
Does it look like a turtle?
But it goes right over the car when it's on fire, so it can take, you know?
I have to tell you,
4,500.
Jordan, I don't know what that is, so I'm sure it's
It's
something.
4,500 piece, but they have to have them in Marshall.
Yeah.
They probably have a lot of charging stations, a lot of electric vehicles.
Just something we have to look forward to in the future.
Okay. We'll do that, thank you.
Other questions for the director?
Just a comment, I know this is your July report, but I'm gonna get into August.
Okay.
2 Friday nights ago, there was a really nasty car accident up in my neck of the woods, and, that could have potentially been really bad for 5 people. Kudos to Rick and the crew. You guys showed up. You guys did a heck of a job. Took care of my neighbors, took care of the neighborhood, busted your tails, and everybody up on Harley Street appreciates you. So thank you. Great job.
Other questions for the director? Superintendent Hughes?
Don't have a whole lot. We got some new training going on. Our lab was inspected for bacteria and nitrates. We have to do some further training for the new employees to have their certification done. Other than that, we've been in compliance for the whole month. That was a good thing. Is there any questions?
Questions for Ed? Hearing none. Superintendent Kaiser?
We had a walkthrough on Maumee Street, final one, where there's like 6 items that Concord has to take care of, most of it's not ready, some stones here and there. We're painting crosswalks before school starts. We water service in today at the new house on Maumee Street that's going in. And next week's a bunch of sidewalks work.
Looks great, I love it.
Thank you.
Questions for Mike?
Good job. Keep it up.
Mrs. Farr?
Just taxes and audit. It's pretty busy. Auditors will be here the last week of August. Do their field work. Property tax summer payments are September 15th, so they're moving pretty steady.
Questions for Lenore? Mr. Thompson, anything to the order? Just very briefly, in my report, abatement activities have started on the 148 Main Street house. You recall the demolition of that. We acquired ownership of that months ago. Have moved forward and authorized a bid last month. All that work is being paid for by grant. They have begun with the asbestos abatement on that property first, and that will follow shortly thereafter with demolition. And the site restored back to its a pre-development condition. Local development finance authorities in communication or in negotiation with an interested party who's looking to purchase the Interdyne building as well as the vacant lot behind it. Can't give a lot of details about the user at this point, but they're in a similar line of business as Interdyne was. There's some interest in the building because of the rubber manufacturer that was there. They will be looking to do more of a research and development facility at this location. So the LDFA authorized some terms this morning for us to go back to negotiations on terms for sale of the vacant lot to the north of that. For those who are interested, I have been representing the city at the Jonesville Business Association meetings, and they have scheduled a meeting open to the community regarding Riverfest. The meeting is going to be held at the Jonesville Police Department Conference Room on Thursday, August 24th at 7 p.m. All are welcome to that. Part of the impetus of it is they've heard comments like, we'd like to get river activities back, we'd like to see this or that changed or added or different to the Riverfest. It's got an open invitation by the Jonesville Business Association for anybody who's interested in that event and adding to it. Lastly, I just want to say to our guys in the fire department how grateful I am for your service here. I know that this has been a tough week. You may not necessarily agree with everything that's taking place, but I do appreciate you opening lines of communication with the director, and I look forward to developing a positive working relationship with the end of the department. That's all I have. Unless you have questions.
Andy?
Just, I want to thank all firefighters, public works, wastewater, police department for the fine jobs that they do. And I want to thank our city manager,
first? Well, I guess it's my turn now. My number one concern for this city is public safety. It has been since I've been here for the past 9 months. When I came here, when I first got here, for the past 9 months of my service on this council, I've witnessed Jonesville lose vital figures in public safety. There was an abrupt loss of the safety director the day after a school shooting scare, which just kind of happened. Nobody really knows why. There was a hiring a new police officer and a resignation quickly afterwards. Now there's a complete removal of a fire chief who was a quarter of a century. Everybody in this room understands. I understand there was a breakdown in communication between the safety director and the fire department, and whatever happened 2 years ago, I was not here for. I'm not close and personal friends with anybody in this room, but I can tell you I live in this community, and I'm passionate about what goes on in the fire department. The brotherhood down there, nobody on this panel, except for maybe you, Director Lance, has went through what these guys have to go through to keep this city safe. Nobody has. And I don't know when is my time to talk here, and I really wanted to answer you, but I don't really know how to do that yet. I'm working on that. All this said, I don't agree with removing a 25-year veteran from our fire department. I can say that to everybody in this room. The community reveres these men who serve in the fire department. I believe the manager and city council should as well. I recently attended a retirement party in Tecumseh for a fire chief, and the whole city was there. 36 years this man served, and he was honored by the city of Tecumseh. It was really moving to see this happen, and it's unfortunate that Chief Adair was removed so abruptly. These men should be revered and respected for their service. The city should have their back. I believe that the removal of Dean was too harsh. Not only did we hurt the safety of our community, we damaged the respect of a man who served Jonesville for a quarter of a century. It is crucial that our city council, the city manager, and all the city employees recognize these men are invaluable, not expendable. These men are not easily replaced, especially when the city does not have their back. That's all. Thank you.
Amen. Let's take a
Very good.
It's about time. Thank you.
Jim?
I agree with Chris with a lot of those things. It's tough to see the lack of folks who want to step up and do this kind of work. When I first moved to this town, there were 24 on-call firefighters in this town. 24. Dean, you and I have had a lot of fun together over the years. And for whatever reason, we lost at least half of those guys. We see it not only in the fire department. Kudos to you guys who have stayed, by the way. I don't want to misconstrue my words though. You guys are appreciated, you're needed. But for whatever reason, we've lost about half of the department over the past 11 or 12 years. And that concerns me. Like you say, Chris, we see it in the fire department, we see it in police, we see it in EMTs. We've had the director of reading emergency here several times talking to us about how bad they're seeing. They are looking for employees, people to help out. I have family, I have a brother who's a cop. I have close family who are EMTs, even firefighters in other towns, and it's tough. So I just want to say kudos to you guys who have stepped up for your community. Appreciate your efforts a couple weeks ago, as I said earlier. It's tough. If you know anybody who wants to get involved, to do something good for their community, send them our way. Send them to their own communities. We all got to help each other out, and if we don't, it's just going to get worse. All
at 7:30. This meeting's.
Mr. Mayor, I'll give you one more comment on the record.
Meeting's been adjourned.
Just say it, I'll listen.
Well, off the record, I think it's pathetic that the council cannot give your citizens answers.
That's right.
Amen.
I think they have to answer you at the next meeting.
Mr. Mayor, you speak for the council. It should come from you, because you're the leader of this group. You should address your citizens.
Personnel issues cannot be talked about to the public.
Then tell us that. Say, I cannot comment, we have to deal through this through legalities or whatever. Don't sit there and be crickets. Let us know, be transparent. We have no clue. You're sitting there, when you do that, you're telling us that you don't want us to know.
Personnel committee, personnel issues cannot be talked about.
Radio.
Number two, a year ago my father passed away. He served 50 years on this department. 50 years, that was his 50th year. And I'm really disappointed that he served this community and we got not one sympathy card, phone call, or anything from the city of Jonesville thanking him for his service or giving us the sympathy of a firefighter that devoted 50 years to this city. Not one.
His picture
Thank you.
up there.
That's all I got to say. Too bad it's not on the record.